All right, welcome. Hey, it's Warwick Caperi here, back with another Events Online live stream. How are you today? Things going well for you? Just so you know who I am, there's this little thing that happens. I'm triple certified and in presenting, certified speaking professional, certified virtual presenter twice. Hey, today I want to talk about delegates. How can you be a better delegate? I'm not having a crack at delegates. What I think is so many delegates haven't been trained how to be a good delegate. So our mission here today is to look at what do you have to do to be a good delegate? And let's start with the why. Why would you? Oh, by the way, hey, if you're into events, online events, hybrid events, and you're finding the video series that I do of value, love it if you'd share it around. Tag a few friends, do whatever you need to do, throw a chat in the chat, commentary, whatever it is. That would just make things more interesting. It would make you a better delegate, which is what we're here for. So here's the thing with better delegates. Better delegates get involved. I hear a lot of conversation about Zoom fatigue, and while I understand it exists and there are studies that have proven how it has an impact, there are certain presenters or speakers or managers who, when they run a session, you don't get fatigued. And part of it is because you're with them. They're a really good presenter. And part of it is you care enough to be a good delegate. Now, I'm not just talking about work events. I sing in a choir, and last night we had some. Oh, thanks, Richard. Richard's given me just a lovely comment about my T-shirt. I'm trying to be professional with my jacket, but I'm a real Star Wars kind of guy, and I'm always a professional kind of dude. Hey, so last night we had choir practice, and the choir mistress is working so hard to get us excited. We have to all go on mute because we're singing together alone, and then we come back, and at the end of a bit, and she'd say, "How's that?" And no one comments. And they're just sitting there. And you can tell they're having fun because they're there, but they're just sitting there. Here's the thing. Good delegates get engaged. They are part of the show. They want to be, oh, hey, and if you're on Facebook and you want to share the chat or something, just go to that first. That'll be good for me. Hey, so the thing is that you want to, yes, that's exactly correct, Alan. Interact just exactly like you are now. That's what we need to do. Go, you good thing. Because interacting and showing how much you're enjoying it just by turning your camera on. Now, don't get me wrong, some of the people out there are introverts and they don't like having the camera on and they want to sit back and relax. And that's okay. There's things that introverts can do that'll also help them get engaged, because the more you engage, the more you'll enjoy it, the less you'll be drained. How many online sessions have you been to where you can tell the people on the online session are over here typing away, doing some email, doing some other work? Because let's face it, you don't multitask. You're either doing it or you're not. It's that simple. Because I know for me, it's like I'll be listening to a podcast driving along, and then my head goes, and all of a sudden I'm like, I have missed so much of that. I can read a book and have to go back and read the same last 2 pages so many times. So it's really important. Oh, we've got a few things coming in the chat there. Thanks, Philippe. Hang on, we'll come back here. Thanks, Philippe. So it is about how do we stay engaged. So turning your camera on is a really simple thing that you can do if you're online. Now, some of you don't want to. That's okay too. Use the chat. When they ask a question, give an answer. A well-considered answer is good. Just a quick, responsive answer is even better. So, whatever works. You don't have to think about it too much, but get involved. Show a little bit of enthusiasm. And part of it also is start before it starts. So register early. I've got to tell you, event organisers out there are pulling their hair out, which is why I've got a hairstyle like I have. Because so many people who have the intention, they're going to go to the event no matter what, but they don't register and pay until the last minute. So as event organisers, you're trying to make decisions. You've got budgetary issues. And if the cash flow is not there and not looking like it's coming, you're more likely to downsize, cancel, look for alternatives. So what you need to do is look at getting registered early. If you're going to go, make a commitment. Make a commitment. Put it in your diary and make it happen. And then when you turn up, really turn up. Turn up and be present. Engage. Have the conversation. Be part of what's going on. Help make the event better for others. So don't just engage in the chat with the presenter. Engage with the conversations and the questions that are going on from others as well. So, as Philippe is saying here, it's like get involved and if the speaker's talking about something, put a link to it. The speaker will love you for it. If you jump on there and go, they've talked about this book. This is the book they're talking about. Here's the movie that references from. Here's the funny quote that the person's talking about. So the presenter will be thinking, how cool is this? Because that's added more value. The other delegates are going, that's great, because I was wondering, where can I get that book? What's the name of that film? So it's a great way to add value to the chat. I was hosting an event. I was presenting at an event yesterday, and it was financial planners, and they were talking about something that, I've got to be honest, don't really know a great deal about. But there were some principles and concepts that I had some questions. And so I'm in the chat just asking a few questions going, is this a legal requirement? What happens if you don't do it right? Should we consider, and I'm just asking some questions. And afterwards, the organizer was like, thank you so much, because they were really good questions. Some of them were simple questions, but it helped to validate it for those who were on the line. There was about 90 people on the line. And so what it also meant for me is when I went to present my bit later, they'd already started having that relationship with me because they'd seen the chats, they'd seen the quality of the questions. So as a delegate, it's a great way to network by putting some stuff in the chat box. People are like, who's this Warwick Merry person? What the heck are they talking about? So it can be a great thing to do. So as a delegate, you've got to get engaged. So that becomes part of, go and visit the sponsors. Go and have a chat with them. They've spent time, effort, money to be here. Who knows what you might find out? It's too easy to go, I've been on Zoom meetings all day, and the MS Teams is just driving me nuts, and there's another online thing, my lordy. But the reality is, the more you get engaged with it, the less draining it is. If you sit back and you're subject to the session versus, thanks, Uva, that's very kind of you to say. If you sit back and just subject to the session versus actively part of the session, it'll be worse for you. Now, I say to all my speaking buddies, I say to them, look, people don't want to be, they don't want the event done to them. They want it done with them. So as a delegate, we have to get involved. We have to be part of that event. We have to ask smarter questions. We have to be willing to interrupt the flow of what's going on by asking these questions. And if appropriate and if permitted, open the microphone and say, hey, before we go on, I've got a thing, here's a thought about this. What does this mean? If you don't know, ask about it. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you'll just sit back, relax, you'll disengage, and then you go, you know what? I could just go to Facebook over here and see what's on over there. We want you to be part of the event. So get engaged. And because it's very easy to come back and just go, that presenter wasn't very engaging. But I'm sure there were many opportunities you could engage and you may not have. It doesn't take much. And look, I get it. Some introverts are happy to just sit back but I find introverts are usually better at chat. They're good to sort of get in there and have a bit of a chat and see what's going on. Anyway, look, they're just some thoughts about how to be a better delegate. I think that what you'll find is if you contribute more, you'll stand out more, you'll engage more, you'll energize more, you'll enjoy it yourself more, and you'll understand it's been a good investment of your time, effort, and money versus spending money on something going, well, was that really worth it? It's like, well, you got to turn up. And it doesn't mean just having your body there, but you've actually got to be there. So my wish for you is to be a better delegate and try some of these different approaches and get more involved in it. There's also a few other things that you can do. So if you want to engage more powerfully online, there's a resource here. It's a freebie resource. Just rock up and you can watch the video, download the PDF with a bit of information to it. So check that out as well while you're here. Thanks for being here. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. This is the lovely Catherine. But yeah, it's sometimes your energy level is so low because the delegates are all sitting there watching. Doesn't mean they don't enjoying it, but it's hard to tell. So getting them all fired up makes a big difference. Thanks, Catherine. I appreciate you jumping on and being part of that. This is a great question from Philippe in terms of how do you engage when the delegates, you can't see the delegates as a presenter. This is the thing, as a presenter, you've just got to pretend that they're there having a good time. Sometimes this is more likely with webinars and more as a distributed performance, sometimes with the hybrid events. If you can, ask to have a laptop so you can actually see what's going on, so you can see the chat, or have it projected on a big screen so you can engage and see what's going on. I think it's so important to create that connection. I know there was one event that I was hosting that we had an incident. One of the servers went down or something halfway through. So I was quickly able to run and see the chat and see what they're talking about as we're trying to get the video back. And when I came back online, I was able to talk about some of their comments, which then generated more comments because I loved the fact that they knew that someone was watching. So it's important to somehow get access to them, even if you can't see them, but see some of their chat. But if you don't, part of it is just building your performance and having a strong enough personality so you know that you're giving everything and you're just playing with the camera because you've got no idea who's at the other end. So it really is just doing the best and just really contributing out there and understanding when do you think that how it's the comedians will often pause for laughter. And I've seen them actually put in scripts, pause for laughter here because they know it's a funny bit. If you've done something that's energetic, build in a pause for it and then sort of maybe ask a question. So how does that sit with you? Or something that's relevant to give them a chance. So it is harder, but not impossible, Philippe. But a great question. Thank you so much for that. All right, that's it for me. I'm back again next Thursday, 9 a.m. Melbourne time, where we talk about getting events online. Big fan of it. It's a fun thing, and I think we should do more of it. Thanks for being here. Look forward to your company then. Catch you later.